Hello, everyone. Welcome to this online healing retreat. We're going to start here in just a few more moments, but first we're going to play for you music from the universe to get us into our sacred space. Take this moment to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and really center yourself in this special space that we're creating today. I want to thank you for joining us and let you know that we'll have instructions on how you can interact with us, and we'll talk to you in about 2.5 minutes. Thank you, everyone. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is an online retreat brought to you by acoustichealth.com, and today we are talking with Laarkmaa. Laarkmaa, they have a book. It is Conversations with Laarkmaa, a Pleiadian view of the new reality, and it's written by Rebecca Smith-Orlean and Cullen Baird-Smith. And this is what I call and others call a divine couple, where together their union, their sacred union, allows them to communicate with a group of Pleiadians known as Laarkmaa. We'll let them explain more about how they came to channel Laarkmaa, but the messages are of truth and unity, oneness and love. And so we're here today to talk with Rebecca and Cullen, as well as answer any questions that you may have for Rebecca and Cullen, and also Laarkmaa. The second phase of this retreat today will bring Laarkmaa in. And so you can ask any questions that you like about anything that may be on your mind, whether it's something to do with the Ascension and 2012, or anything about the future, what our bodies may be like. I know you've got lots of wonderful questions, and that's what makes up this great retreat that we've got for everyone today. So welcome. I'd like to welcome my co-hosts here in just a moment, but first, before we do, I want to remind everyone this is an online retreat, and we still need you to turn off cell phones. I'm going to turn mine off too, by the way, because the cell phone, you can be calling in on a cell phone. I think most of you are on the computer today, but the cell phone interruption is not something that is desired or appreciated by Laarkmaa. They will leave the space for us, so no cell phones, please. And also, it's your turn to really get interactive with us today. So send us your questions. I'm going to give you a few quick instructions about how you can do that. Well, on the right side of your computer monitor, you'll see what's called the GoToWebinar Control Panel. And that is your gateway to interact with us. You can see there's a little hand that you can raise. And if you have a computer microphone, for example, if you're calling in on a laptop, most laptops have a built-in computer microphone. Or if you've ever used Skype, then you will be able to have a computer microphone already on your computer. And if that's the case, you can raise your hand and we will unmute you, and I'll let you know when you're unmuted, and then you can ask a question. And also, if you don't have that technology available to you today, you can simply send us your message in a question over the GoToWebinar Control Panel. So we are ready to go, and with that, I want to welcome Rebecca and Cullen. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's our great pleasure.
Thank you very much, Lorraine.
Well, I'm sorry, did you have something else to add?
I would just like to say very quickly, we are quite grateful for this opportunity to speak with all of you who are connected with us now in the journey towards unity, the journey that we're all on towards oneness. We really appreciate this opportunity to speak and to have an interaction through questions and dialogue. Thank all of you very, very much.
Well, thank you. I do have some wonderful questions for you, but I do want to get interactive with everyone. If you can raise your hand, I want to ask any of you on today's call, who has read the book, Conversations with Laarkmaa, A Pleiadian View of the New Reality? Is there anyone on today's call who has read the book? Go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, Claire, very good. Marlene. It is a wonderful book. I found it in the Boulder bookstore. Lucy, wonderful Lucy. It is a wonderful book, and so for those, and that, let's see, let's get a percentage. It's about 20% of the people. Hans, thank you, Hans. 20% of the people on today's call have read the book. Now, we talked about it being truth and unity, but can you each take a quick moment and explain a brief overview of the profound messages in this book?
The first thing that I would like to say about that is that Laarkmaa introduced us to a deeper understanding of who we are in the writing of this book. Their perceptions, how they see humans as part of the planet and part of the stars is astounding. And their focus on recognition that we are water beings and water waves in its reality is very much akin to the wave motion of star beings. So their focus on who we are in all of our aspects and our education from them about our being water beings has been quite profound for us.
They've given us the understanding over the years we've been communicating with them that there is an incredible amount of support from many kingdoms, many beings, that is available to all of us, and that all we have to do is ask for support, ask for love, and it is certainly there in many, many ways. And they've given us an amazing amount of wisdom that can help us understand not only how we live here as humans on Earth, but also how we're part of a much greater system that has to do with the entire universe.
They're also helping us to understand how to step out of old paradigms in regard to our belief systems, our patterns of behavior, anything of the old which needs to die away in order to make room for the new. They're giving us great insights into how to do that. For instance, There's an entire chapter in the book about emotions, and that's one of Laarkmaa's favorite topics, is recognizing that emotions are more than just feelings. They're not just something that overwhelms us or washes through us and allows us to connect by how we feel. Emotions are actually signposts that point us to directions we need to change and alter ourselves when we're out of harmony.
What they've given us is a greater understanding that when emotions come up in our lives, it has to do with balance. It has to do with how we're relating to each other, how we're relating to the world, but also, and possibly even more greatly, how we're relating to ourselves, in how we're reacting and how we're stopping ourselves from truly communicating on a harmonic level that makes it easier through compassion and love to really understand each other and really get along, possibly in a greater way than humanity has ever had the experience to do so.
So give us a few examples of that. You know, when we're out of balance because of our emotions, what do we do from there?
The first thing we do is to take responsibility for the emotion ourselves. Most of us, when we hit an emotional reaction, and they are reactions to our external or internal environment, most of us have an emotional response as a reaction to something that we don't like or that feels uncomfortable. And the usual thing that humans do is say, I don't like what you did, or this situation isn't working for me, and put the blame on the other. And the first thing Laarkmaa teaches us is to turn that around and take responsibility for what we're feeling ourselves and recognize the gift in the emotion, because the emotion is showing us where we are out of harmony, not where somebody else is doing something wrong.
It's always easier to look outside of ourselves and point that finger of blame because we think someone has interrupted or challenged our field of energy or our personality choices. And what they're showing us so lovingly is that instead of thinking, oh, this is from outside and I have to blame or point my finger, they're showing us that it's really only our own material, it's our own shadow that we must look at. So it's an incredible, different kind of wisdom that we can use to guide us when we're not feeling quite ourselves, when we're feeling a little rocky, when we're feeling like things aren't going quite our way. What they're trying to help us with is to show us that we have the choice to change that for ourselves first, but then in a greater way change it for everyone else. But they say you can only change yourselves. So what they're trying to show us is work individually on our own, and we will create that harmonious balance that we're all looking for.
So that's the first step. But the second step they have given us is once we recognize the emotion as ours, what do we do with it? And at that point, most of us throw up our hands and go, I don't know what to do with this feeling. But Laarkmaa has given us an amazing exercise that works. It's simply breathing in and breathing out, and on every single breath recognizing that we can let go of what doesn't belong to us and bring in what does belong to us. And they use not just the words, but the essence of 4 qualities. Breathe in love, breathe out trust, breathe in joy, breathe out compassion. And they say that it's simply not the words, but it is the actual essence of each of these 4 components. And if we focus on our breath when we're in an emotional state, just breathing in and out, and breathe in those qualities, those essences, we actually put ourselves in more harmonic balance, and then we're able to examine what exactly it is the emotion is pointing us to that's not working in our lives, so we can make choices, and better choices.
Yes, and one very important part of this is for us to immediately, and I underline the word immediately, notice when we're beginning to feel emotional. When we're beginning to feel out of balance, we must, as quickly as possible, either start the process that Rebecca just explained, or any technique where we feel we can calm ourselves, quiet down, step into nature, do something that will change how we're feeling, simply taking a walk, but whatever it is that we choose to do, the sooner we act on it, the sooner we will step out of that pattern of getting more deeply involved in that emotional state.
Another aspect of doing this with the emotions is to recognize that the minute we start having the emotion, as Cullen pointed out, immediately taking action means not attaching to the mental thought forms that we usually have, noticing our belief systems, noticing what we think is right or proper, noticing our thoughts about how we feel we've been wronged, or how something could be done better, or who's at fault, or even how the universe isn't working the way we think it should. All of those thoughts that we put in connection with an energetic, emotional response are ours to change and to pull back into a harmonic resonance with ourselves once we realize what we're doing. For the most part, we are accustomed to just feeling the emotion and letting it rip through us, and it changes our energetic space around us because we don't know what to do with it. Now Laarkmaa has given us step-by-step directions on exactly what to do with it and how.
And so I guess if there are some of us that are kind of going through these things and we have it a lot, then we know that this is great because we're really focusing on things, and it's as simple as recognizing that it's our own issue, any relationship problems that we have with anyone, that this is all of the things that we need to do. The work that needs to be done is just to pay attention to that emotion, take a moment and breathe in love, breathe out trust, breathe in joy, breathe out compassion, and really that's quite simple. It's as simple as that.
It is quite simple. For the simplicity that it is, it has an enormous effect, both on us personally and everyone else in our field.
Okay, well, let's get more specific, though, because I can feel that there's some questions. I've even answered one earlier this week on email, because given a situation here in this 3D world, and you guys even Laarkmaa addressed a newsletter on it earlier, when we have to put a roof over our head, and absolutely maybe someone has lost a job or has not been able to manifest the money, what would you recommend the person, use as a tool to get through that, to move through that emotion?
Go give something to somebody else and experience the energy of giving, and move the energy away from what we don't have into what we do. Even if the gift that we give is a hug or helping someone in the kitchen or anything that we can do, the act of giving instead of focusing on what we don't have shifts the energy.
Any action taken in a giving sense will pretty much immediately change that sense that we have that either the universe or the world or our boss or our loved ones are doing something to us that we wish they wouldn't. It changes that realization immediately to realize that when we're in a giving position, when we're doing something outside of ourselves, it automatically, it throws open a switch, and it makes us realize that our life really isn't as miserable or challenging as we thought it was, because we step out of that and move into another space where we realize that everyone can be giving and everyone can have gifts for us.
And that's a bit tough to do for someone who's just lost a job or is in a financial despair or something of that nature that's very third-dimensional and real. But it's our perspective about what we have to change that helps us move through it. If we've lost a job and we need to find another one, if we are in a financial hardship, if those third-dimensional aspects are challenging us in our lives and we can move our own heart space into a more open position of giving, suddenly our perspective on what we do have shifts as well, and then we can take care of finding that better job, finding another place to live, whatever it is that we need in the third dimension shifts because we're creating it at higher dimensional vibrations.
There's also another component of this which is pretty interesting. If we lose a job, if we lose a friend, whatever that loss might be, we might wish to look at it as a gift rather than a loss, because sometimes things just change. The whole pattern of the universe is change. So when we lose something, we might be looking instead of grieving the loss, we might look at the fact that it could be an opportunity for growth, or it could be an opportunity to move on to something else, maybe that we need more than what we actually lost.
That can relate to health challenges as well. If we feel like we've lost our health, if we feel like we've lost a relationship, whatever it is that we feel like we've lost, we can look at as, okay, this is gone, what's coming in its place? Because the universe itself provides imbalance. And if we're focused on what we've lost, we're not allowing what we can gain to come towards us. We're resisting. And Laarkmaa tells us that it's best not to resist. It's best instead to open to possibilities.
Very encouraging, very inspiring. So it really is just, it's an energetic expression that if our thought forms, we give it energy, that's going to take us down that negative road. But if we, like you said, if we shift that energy, I think that's such, again, some of the mundane stuff that we need to focus on, because we'll be able to just move out of it. And, you know, just to take that positive, brighter look, because there's, in this present moment, we're still here. It's like there's no problems in this present moment.
Yes, Loren. Actually, everything is energy, and when we forget that, we tend to think about the third dimensional physical aspects of what's troubling us, and we have forgotten that all that is there or not there is created through energy. Everything's energy. So the way to maneuver the energy for the highest good of all is through opening to possibilities with love.
It's really a pretty simple equation. Stepping out of negativity into a positive or loving element really does have great power, and it can really turn things around probably more quickly than we actually realize.
So we could all play with little experiments every single day and look for that miracle of love, and, you know, even if it's getting up in the day and just focusing on one special thing, and let's see what happens. I think that would just be a nice little experiment for all of us to try, and then get back with us and let us know how that goes. At this time, I want to invite anybody to ask any questions that you may have for Rebecca and Cullen, and then we will bring on Laarkmaa. I've got a couple of questions for both of you, and maybe if it's for Laarkmaa, we can defer it for a later time. But when we look at ascension, we've got different, you know, or the shift, and maybe it's one and the same. What is the shift? Do you feel that it's going to be something in time? Is it a quickening? Is it going to be something that happens over time, or just a quickening, maybe one day and then ascension? Maybe that fits right in with it.
This is a great lead-in to what we just said about energy, everything being energy, because what Laarkmaa is trying to teach us as we become more and more aware is that if we're focused on energy, then we understand what we're creating. So the shift is about energy. The shift is about changing consciousness first, but out of that consciousness change, then we co-create the physical.
Laarkmaa tells us over and over again that ascension is a process. It's not a switch that on a given day will be switched on and we will all wake up and have ascended to some other plane or some other existence. They talk quite often about the fact that we're all moving in a direction towards ascension, but it has to do with everyday experiences. We may wake up and have an understanding that maybe life isn't so tough after all, or maybe the love that we're receiving is greater than we actually had ever thought it was. What they're trying to tell us is that ascension is not linear. It's not a single action. It has to do with the process of moving energy, being energy, understanding energy. So when we talk about this, or when Laarkmaa talks specifically about it, they will probably talk about process, not simple waking up and being different. But in that waking up, we can be different in small incremental or larger understandings.
Another aspect of this relating to your question about ascension is that Laarkmaa tells us that human beings for the longest time have been waiting on somebody else to save them. When are we going to be saved? Are the ships going to come down and pick us up? Who's going to save us? And one of the things that they are quite clear about is that nobody is going to save us. We're going to save ourselves. And part of their message to humanity to wake up is to recognize the power that we have within us, the power of love. And in that power, they are telling us over and over again, we are the ones that can save ourselves by stepping away from our old belief systems, our patterns of behavior, our old thought forms, and stepping into who we can be by accepting the love within our hearts and sharing it with the universe and everything in the universe.
When you talk of moving energy, it really is what quantum physics is proving as well. And it's also, I just returned from Peru, where we learned about the pre-Inca. And the pre-Inca were the Lemurian colonists. When I realized that, speaking with local shamans, it just amazed me, because the Caros know how to move this living energy. And so quantum physics, again, is pointing and confirming what the ancients, even the Hopis and other indigenous cultures on this beautiful planet have known, and is that 96% of the universe is unknown. Science can only look at 4% and quantify it. So that 96% is the field, what the Chinese have called qi and the Hindus call prana. And it's this energy that you're talking about. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And if you are becoming involved with Lemurian energy and Lemurian wisdom, you must be well aware that the Lemurians work through the magic of water. They may be working energetically, but we are water beings, and Lemuria does a lot of teaching, communicating, helping humanity through the magic of our water and the water of the planet. We have Lemurian friends we talk with on a regular basis, and it's a wonderful understanding that they are holding hands with the Pleiadians, as Laarkmaa says. Laarkmaa says we're standing with the Lemurians, holding their hands, helping humanity to step into the same arena so we can all hold hands together.
When I used to speak to quantum physicists years ago, 20, 30 years ago, we would have lively discussions about what was going on with quantum physics. And in one of those discussions, we were talking about what could possibly be missing in the quantum understanding. And a group of us, both lay people and physicists, came up with the idea that possibly what quantum science is moving towards is the understanding that love is the missing ingredient in science. That when quantum science and love come together, there will be a greater burst of understanding that science can't answer all of it, but love and science together might have a more balanced, harmonic field of understanding. And I think that's probably where we're going at this point with quantum physics.
One of the key things that Laarkmaa says that we must do in order to incorporate this understanding of quantum physics and the power of love is to recognize how much fear we are living with on a daily basis, and learn that love can dissolve all fear. So we don't have anything to be afraid of. if we simply accept and trust that love is the higher power than fear is. It can dissolve everything we're fearful of. It can change everything we're fearful of. There are two opposing energies according to Laarkmaa. And to make the changes we need to make, we have to do our work to step away from anything we're frightened of and step towards trust so that love can take control.
And it goes so deep. I mean, goodness, this is even in uterine, as well as even in past lives that we've gone through, this programmed fear and our fall from grace as humans from Lemuria. And, when this planet took the laggards, as they're called, into this planet and during the last cycle ascension, we were doing so in hopes that our love influence would radiate out and influence those laggards. Well, in other terms, and as we know today, they influenced us negatively, and we fell from that grace, and we've been in that fear cycle for so long. And I just love the acronym of fear, which I like to refer to as false evidence appearing real. So when you were talking about quantum physics and the missing component of love, when we hear of healing stories, spontaneous healing stories, where people go to the medicine Western doctor, are diagnosed with cancer all over their body or stage 4, they go home, they embrace those tumors. They have a spiritual experience. They connect with their higher source, with God, whatever they would consider their God, this one source of creation. And do you know, they go back to the doctor, and these are real stories. The tumors are disappeared. And that's where quantum science is coming, and you said it, Colin, it's with love. So again, is this looking into the future? What does Laarkmaa have to say about the aging process?
That's a question that we would say, ask Laarkmaa. We will defer that one for them to answer directly. But what I can say about the spontaneous remissions that you're speaking about is, yes, they are real. They're not just stories. I have experienced it.
They're also not miracles. They are something that can happen on an everyday basis.
To each of us. That's what we need to step away from, is that these are miracles that occur. It's more likely that everything that we don't practice is the normal, not the miraculous. We're just not aware yet how to practice, how to do these things. We need to be able to trust. It's moving into the space with whatever it is that we're trying to heal and loving it and trusting that it has a gift to give us, and then simultaneously focusing on how else it can be. What could be better than this, as a very, very good friend of ours says all the time. With any situation that comes up, she asks, what could be better than this? It's a different way of looking at things than our normal, oh no, what else could happen?
It's a different paradigm than thinking the worst is going to happen. When many, many people get the information from a hospital or a doctor or a lab report that there is something quite wrong with them, many people go into the fear place, the fear state, and think, oh, my life is coming to an end. I must have cancer because they told me I did. Mm. The story that you just related, Lorraine, about people going home and communicating with their bodies and doing a simultaneous action of listening and helping the body to make a change is going to be the new medicine. That is how we're going to be able to step away from old paradigm medicine and move into the space where we can actually cause our own healing.
It also has to do with belief systems. Part of the healing is stepping away from what we believe or what we have been told is the natural progression of whatever any situation is. There's a very good story that I'm fond of about a man who went into the hospital because his heart was failing, and he was having great difficulty breathing and walking, and it was congestive heart failure. And the doctor, listening to the man, said something over him that made a difference in his life. Now, this man was not very well educated. He was not very well read. He was a simple farmer who didn't have much experience in life outside of his own farm. And while he was in that hospital bed, the doctor was listening to his heart and said, your heart has a gallop. And he was talking about the heart murmur, the physical sounds of the heart not being okay. But he said, your heart sounds like a galloping horse. Well, the man lapsed into a deep sleep. I won't say coma because I'm not sure, but he lapsed into a deep sleep, and he started to get better. And the doctor came back and checked on him and said, I think you're better. I don't know why, but you can go home and come back again, and we'll check you later. The next month, the man came in, and the doctor couldn't find any evidence whatsoever of the heart condition. It was completely gone. And he asked the man, what have you done? What did you do? What remedies did you take? How did this happen? And the man said, well, I heard you say my heart had a gallop like a horse, so I figured that was pretty darn healthy. So I just decided I'd match my body to what my heart was supposed to be doing. And he healed himself. So a lot of it is about our belief systems. How much do we take in about what we've been told or what we believe things to be when we are not feeling well?
What are some other belief systems that could deter us? I mean, we've got the financial, economy, health. Is it just everything?
Oh, I think the biggest one we could talk about is the fear of not being loved. I think probably most of what humanity suffers from is I'm not good enough. Someone or all are not going to love me. And I think a lot of our belief systems, a lot of our living in cycles and patterns comes from that very stance of I'm not very lovable.
And that builds and builds and builds because we don't always recognize that that's the fear that's driving us. We base other belief systems on top of that. We start building a foundation or a structure on that fear that we're not lovable or not able to be loved, and all of a sudden it becomes really important that we're right. I believe I'm right. That's a belief system we need to get rid of. The belief that I'm right and you're wrong, no matter who the I and the you are. Why can't everybody be right and just have a different perspective? But that I have to be right and you have to be wrong is built on the belief system that if I'm not right, I won't be loved.
It's a pretty simple equation, and Laarkmaa speaks about this a lot, that we need to love ourselves. That old adage about how can you possibly love someone else until you've come to the point where you love yourself first, that has been an adage and a slogan that's been tossed around for millennia. But at this time in human evolution, we're beginning to see that it's more and more important that we need to have a sense of self-love first, so that then we can go out into the world and spread that love that we actually have and understand within ourselves.
And self-forgiveness as well.
That's a very big part of self-love, because if we love ourselves, the love is for giving. Then we understand we are giving the love to ourselves.
The love is for giving. That's an excellent way to see that. So with these belief systems, and this is a question for Rebecca and Cullen, and I'm also going to ask Laarkmaa if somebody else doesn't beat me to it. With these belief systems that we have in place and the acceleration or the end of the Mayan calendar where we are now in unity consciousness, how are we going to make it into the future? And on that note, your thoughts of the future once we get there.
Well, I think there is no getting there. I think we're already there because time is dropping away. The whole idea of the end of the Mayan calendar is that everything is here with us now. The Mayan calendar never was about time, it was about energy. And we moved through sequential steps of energetic understanding in cycles. There was a 20-day cycle of human energy, and there was a 13-day cycle of Pleiadian energy, because the Pleiadians are the ones who gave this calendar to the Maya. So combining those 13 cycles and 20 cycles together, we moved through a system where we could experience combinations of energy, one after another, to understand them in their fullness. Now, at the end of the Mayan calendar, all of those energies are present here, now, in this moment.
They're available simultaneously, multidimensionally, so that instead of only being able to experience them sequentially as they were given through the Mayan calendar, we are now able to access all of them by choice whenever we want to do that. So we can actually change energetic anything, energetic outcomes, energetic wishes, by multidimensionally observing and acting.
So that answers the question in a bit different way. Instead of saying, how can we get to the future? What do we need to do to get to this future? It's opening our perception, as Cullen just said, multidimensionally, to understanding the future's here now. It's right here. Every single present moment is part of the process. So it's not only about where we're going, it's about where we are now.
Something happened during the 11-11-11 worldwide celebrations. More people celebrated and communicated on that day in a spiritual sense or spiritual reality than any other time in human history to date. And something happened on that day. We don't quite know exactly.
Laarkmaa says that the basis of what happened is that humanity took the first step to accepting our own divinity and our own co-creative power by setting a group intention that on a specific date that we set aside, we would call in the new reality. The Gregorian calendar is what gives us our dates. And 11-11-11, we chose as humans to put our intentions together as a group and say, this day will be different. Therefore, the universe matched us with our request, and the day actually created a huge shift in human consciousness.
So the shift that many people are talking about and have been waiting for seems to have arrived already. We talk to people worldwide about how their lives are changing, how they're perceiving energy differently, how their understanding of time has changed, and 11-11-11 seems to have been the springboard for those new perceptions and those new understandings to actually come forward into our 3D world, while we're now simultaneously working in all other dimensions simultaneously.
And it seems that we, maybe in our subconscious, not quite knowing it, but somewhere in our subconscious knew that that date was important. Laarkmaa says that we chose a particularly potent binary portal. So we were choosing to intend a better reality using binary systems of information. They've talked to us a great deal, and there's information on our website about the binary system, and they're beginning to share it with us more, because the binary system shows us how we have been playing in duality and how we can use the reflection of binary energetic understandings to reflect unity.
The number sequences in the binary system are completely different than any other mathematical understanding.
Yeah, I've seen those. It's like one has a master code up top, but then it's usually just 0 and 1, and they play out over digits.
Yes.
That's part of it. The other part of it is the symbolic recognition of what it means to us as we are. You can see, let's see, Laarkmaa spoke recently about looking at two human beings standing at each other and seeing each other as part of the 11. here's one and here's the other, and seeing that we reflect back and forth to each other. And it's in the reflection that we begin to see the unity.
And if they use this as an example, which I think is really an astounding visual example. If you take two ones, which the binary system would be 1, 1 next to each other, if you extend the tops of the two ones and join them together, and you extend the two bottoms of the two ones together, they become a 0, which is half of the binary understanding.
And that's unity.
And that is unity. That is bringing those two people who are standing side by side in the actual virtual two slices, two slashes. It actually brings those two people together in a single unified field. And when they told us that, we got goosebumps. We were amazed, because that gave the binary system a completely different human graphic understanding, and it was an amazing switch for us.
It's part of why Laarkmaa explains that they call us the divine couple, because that binary reflection moving into unity is the spark of divinity. And we can all be divine with one another by doing that.
We are all divine by doing that.
We're not special. Each of us has that ability by standing next to any other human being and creating that circle over the top and the circle at the bottom, until we take the reflection of the binary two separate entities, form a whole, and become one unified energy of love.
It joins the two energies together as a one. It's fascinating to us.
Yes, and isn't that what happened on planet Earth recently, as the male and the feminine have blended as well? Have you heard that from Laarkmaa?
Yes.
That's a very good question, statement. We spent a magical
time in Sweden about a year ago, just before 11/11 this year. So 1 year ago, Laarkmaa and the Marys said, you have to go to this place on the planet where people are gathering to end the conflict between the genders and bring them together in unity. And we experienced a weekend at a castle with other human beings who were stepping beyond gender-defined roles of who we are, stepping into an androgynous understanding that each of us carries male and female energy within us.
And part of what humanity is now beginning to understand is that alchemical marriage within each of us, that we are equally made up of half male and half female energy, is one of the sparks that is now being understood worldwide, that we no longer have to have a battle between the genders, that we possess inside each one of us, no matter whether we are male or female in this given time space, this body. If we balance those two energies within ourselves, that will automatically help to balance the entire energetic field between men and women worldwide.
So those energies, let's describe them. So the masculine energies and the female energies, female love, compassion, masculine more of the willpower.
Well, in the old paradigm of separation and defining masculine and feminine, I would say that is true. But to step into a new paradigm, a new reality, I would say males carry love just as much as females do. Mm-hmm. The definition is more about polarity, the polarities that each offers, the masculine-feminine polarity, not about love versus will, but about polarity of how it's expressed.
Women are obviously just as strong as men. Women have proven this for a very, very long time, that women can be very definite, very driven, very, very smart, very everything, that men have been given the apparent role model of only men can possess those things. And men, on the other hand, can be as compassionate and caring and supportive as women. It's just that these roles have been defined for so long that men have separated themselves into a tribe of thinking that they are the strong, the leaders, the thinkers, the scientists, and women have engendered the loving, kind, supportive part of the feminine part of the whole. And what we're seeing now is that people are understanding that we can now join both of those equally in a balance. And what better combination could each of us humans, regardless of our gender, be walking around with at the same time?
In my book, The Return of the Feminine, the entire book is about returning to the cycles of nature through the understanding of what the feminine means, but also understanding that the masculine is equally important.
Okay, all right. Well, you know, I used to always think that, you know, the strong women, that was their masculine coming out, but you've said it so well that it's really all of us here showing up as unique individuals, and there's a place for all of it.
Yes.
Good. Well, let's see. I do not have any questions. Maybe there'll be some more questions for Rebecca and Cullen after, but at this time, we're going to shift gears here and allow Rebecca and Cullen to communicate with Laarkmaa. I'm going to put up an image of Laarkmaa as was given to you both, and it really represents the oneness, yet the individuality and the water element. So will you tell us again about your first experiences with Laarkmaa, and then we'll take a brief break and allow you to call them in.
Our first experiences with Laarkmaa would be hard to pinpoint because they tell us they have been with us our entire lives, and we can look backwards and find many, many magical moments that we ask them, was that you, Laarkmaa? Were you doing that? But in the third dimension, we have a definite starting point, and that is when Cullen and I began our lives together, all of a sudden things started happening very, very quickly.
Things began to change in our lives. We started noticing synchronicities. We started noticing symbolisms and little tiny occurrences that we had to look at each other with that smile that couples have where they go, wow, something just happened. We may not know what that means, but we realized something just occurred. And we started having, I don't know how to say this exactly, we started having visitations where...
I say having company is a good way to say it. We had company.
We started seeing lights in the house. We started realizing that our personal possessions were being moved around, manipulated, taken away, brought back. We realized that we were beginning to be part of something that was making more sense than our lives had to that point.
We didn't know what to do with that, so we just honored, respected it, accepted it, and let it be. And sometime after that, we were having a celebratory dinner one night, and all of a sudden the shortwave radio turned itself on.
It was my birthday. This was quite a few years ago, and we were eating dinner in the dining room in the shortwave radio, which was our only communication system. We lived at 8,000 feet in a canyon, and we didn't really have any TV reception or normal radio reception. And we got up from the dinner and walked into where the shortwave radio was plugged into the wall, and we just looked at each other and went, now, isn't that kind of odd? We've never experienced a radio turning itself on. We stood there for a moment, had a chuckle, went back to finish my dinner celebration.
Noticed that the time that the radio had turned itself on was exactly the hour and minute of Cullen's birth, which was another synchronicity.
Wow.
So we
Wow.
We went about our business that evening, and the next night we were busy doing something else, and at the very same time, my birth time, the radio turned itself on again. Now, this is a very long story, and we will shorten it for this time span. This went on for days.
And in that period of time where this was going on at days, we were waking up at the night with the clock showing the exact same time in the middle of the night,
which didn't correspond to actual 3D timing. So after about a week or 10 days of this, we started sitting in front of the radio, anticipating it turning itself on, and of course it continued to do that.
Wow.
After a couple of weeks, we started getting thought impressions. We were getting messages in our minds, not audibly. We couldn't hear them, but we were being given information. And one of us would look at the other and say, I just got this piece of information, and the first person shared it with the second, and the second would say, I got exactly that same verbatim message.
Messages like, we are here in love. And we would ask back questions, where are you from? We are from the Pleiades. How many are you? This was a really odd one. When we got this, they said, we are 1 of 6 and 6 of 1. And for both of us to receive that odd phraseology simultaneously was really a confirmation to us that we weren't making this up. This was real.
So we listened for these messages for a few more days, and then, unbeknownst to us, for no particular reason, we started speaking the messages out loud. And we would take turns. We could do it simultaneously in the beginning. We would both mouth exactly the same phrases. And then we started doing it individually, and we thought, we have to capture this wisdom. This is too important. And so we started taking notes. And we could not keep up, even with shorthand, the amount of information that was coming through us. Things we didn't understand. Binary information,
medical information,
mathematical information, astronomical information, and it finally dawned on us that we should tape record these messages.
We have to be touching in order for Laarkmaa to come through us, and they have explained that they prefer coming through us because we are dynamically opposite. We are, as we were talking earlier about the two binary beings reflecting back and forth to each other, we reflect opposite viewpoints on everything. So by their simultaneously presenting the information through both of us, there's no human filterization of belief systems. We just get a pure information coming through. And unlike old-style channeling, we are also fully present when this occurs. I'm still Rebecca, Cullen is still Cullen, and Laarkmaa is Laarkmaa, and it's a merging that occurs, a synchronistic merging where they send messages through us. They use the libraries of our brains to choose words that humans can understand for those messages, and then we speak them.
They don't have a language system like we do on Earth. They don't use words. They use what they've told us are heart tones and musical tonality. They directly communicate heart to heart without the use of brain or words. And so speaking through us as they do is quite a challenge for them, because they have to use, as Rebecca said, our libraries of information in our brains in order to use the words that humans can understand. But what they're teaching us is that because we're water beings, we have the ability, just like they do and like many other species from other dimensions, we can communicate directly. What humans have called this for years is ESP, that we can communicate without words, and they're helping us through what they do to challenge us to use words less, listen more deeply, and communicate more directly.
Have you learned how to speak heart to heart with each other?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. We can give an example. Everybody knows this example. When two people have been married for a very long time, or two people have spent a lot of time together over the years, it has been said that they read each other's minds, that they know what each other are going to say. Well, we certainly experience that, but what we're beginning to understand is that that is not coming from mind to mind. It is coming directly from heart to heart.
And it is carried through the resonance of our water. My water to Cullen's water to my water. The magnetic, energetic frequency carries those heart messages back and forth.
It was thought in the previous century, or the previous century and a half, that ESP traveled through airwaves. Carl Jung, Wilhelm Reich, there were a number of psychologists, psychiatrists, scientists who believed that thought messages were propelled through the air. And through this communication with Laarkmaa over the years, they have given us the idea that it's actually through water, not air. And so some people who challenge that, we sometimes explain that even the air has water elements in it because of the makeup of air. So even for those who wish to believe that it works only through the air, it does through the air also, because there is a water element as a component of the air itself.
Okay, well, fascinating. I would like to allow everyone to focus in now and take a moment on some questions as we allow Rebecca and Cullen to sit together. I would imagine both of you are seated next to each other. And do you hold hands here and take a few minutes and then come back to us?
We do exactly that.
So we will allow you that silence. And again, I want to remind people you can either raise your hand or you can send over a question to us. So thank you. We'll allow you to bring in Laarkmaa.
Hello, dear ones. We are Laarkmaa, and we are here to support the evolution of humanity because we love you. We will speak for a moment about your curiousness about ascension and the ascension process. Humans have, before this time, in their belief system, co-created ascension through a process called death, where you have separated the physical body from the spirit and allowed the body to return back into the earth as the spirits collected the energy back in the sky. Spirit to heavens, body to earth. It is part of your co-creation of understanding of separateness, that you are separate, that you are divided, that you are powerless to make a difference in your lives, that you must take whatever nature gives you, that you are controlled by forces outside of yourself. Because of this belief system, which you have had for thousands and thousands of years, and because you have been suffering under the illusion and the veil of separation, you have lived with separation called death, where you separated your essential essence of yourself away from your physical body over a period of time, a process called living and dying. At this auspicious time, as you awaken to other aspects of who you are, we are helping you to understand that the ascension process need not be limited to only the patterns of separation through living and dying, life and death. When you attune your physical form to your light body form, you are capable of traveling the road of ascension, moving through the ascension process in a different way. It is your choice. It has always been your choice, but you are unaware that you had such a choice. We are here to help educate you that choice is yours. You may, through a greater awareness of connectivity through your physical form and your light body form, choose differently. Through greater honoring of your physical body's needs and through the emotional clearing that we call shadow work, where you allow the signposts of emotions to show you every place you are out of harmony, clear it out, clean it out, and revitalize yourselves. Through the dropping away of the separation of your minds, where you have allowed your belief systems and your thoughts to govern everything that you do. Through the changes of these aspects of yourself, bringing your mind back into harmony with your heart, allowing your mind to follow the heart, as the heart takes the lead through love, rather than your mind taking the lead through fear. As you reach for your spirit to connect in your light body form to the spirit in your physical body form, and you pull those two together, the more unity, the more androgynous force of alchemical mixture each individual holds within himself or herself, the more you enhance the possibility of your being able to attend to the ascension process with your physical form attached. It is your choice. 2,000 years ago, the one called Christ was here to teach how to do exactly what we are speaking of now. And yet, even as Christ demonstrated the ascension process with the physical body, human consciousness at that time was suffering under so much separation that they were unable to accept the gift and let it open them into their own possibilities. Rather, instead, humanity separated Christ out as one who can do this only, a special one who must be worshipped, instead of Christ's intention of showing the way. Christ said at that time, "I am the way," and he intended for humans to follow that way. He said, "I am the truth," and he intended for humans to accept the understanding that the truth is love, that the truth is recognizing the power of love within you. This is what Christ intended, and now, at this auspicious time, you each have Christ consciousness within you, and you are awakening to your own powers of who you are and who you can be. This is the ascension process that you are on. Each of you will choose moment by moment whether to attach to your old beliefs that sickness and death and aging will continue to occur as they have in all of your parallel lives and as they have in this particular lifetime, or whether you will choose to transcend that by disregarding those belief systems, by stepping out of patterns that have kept you stuck in a structure where you have not allowed yourself to be all that you can be. As you step into further and further understanding, deeper and deeper resonance with truth, you begin to trust that there is another way. You begin to trust that if you reach out and hold hands in love, together you can create something magnificent. Together you can create a new reality, and out of that new reality will spring the new human. You are here at this time to participate, if you choose, in co-creating the new human. You have many humans in your historical understanding who have done much to work with energy, and the powers who wish to control you have shortened their ability to share what they knew about energy. Einstein, Tesla, we can go on with names of people who understood the energetic power that you hold within you that may be driven and directed through the power of love. Through your own power of love and stepping out of the fear that has kept you separate, the fear that has governed your lives, you move into trust, and in that field of trust you can create your own new reality. Thus, we say, ascension is not an end process. It is not a place where one day something will shift and you will ascend to the 5th dimension, or the 6th, or the 7th. That is hierarchical thinking, which belongs in the 3rd dimension, in the linearity concepts, not in multidimensional concepts. So ascension is a process. It is something you are choosing in each and every present moment. Understand, dear ones, that time is something you have co-created together. It does not truly exist. When you speak of beyond the veil, you are speaking of something that you created. The veil is time. Understand? The veil is time. You have co-created this veil to live in separation from each other and from truth. And as you understand that time is evaporating because the veil is thinning, you stand transparent in front of one another. And the next step for you on your path is to trust that you are capable of doing whatever is required. If you are in need of something in your physical 3rd dimensional world, whether that is healing of body, healing of relationship, healing of finances, whatever it is you are in need of, you must equal your need with the exact amount or more of trust. And in the balance of trust, when balance is present, then you are capable of co-creating what it is that you really need. When you focus on your needs and you forget to trust or be grateful for what you have, you skew your own balance, and you are unable to manifest or co-create what it is that is necessary. For you are focused on the glass half empty rather than the glass half full. When you focus on how you think things should be, or how the universe should work, or what mistakes are being made, you are focusing on a particular polarity that is centered around fear rather than the polarity of love and trust. So instead, surrender to everything that occurs as a gift and ask, what from this gift is helping me, and how can I give back to the universe from being helped myself? Many of you suffer at a great level in varying ways according to your individual stories, and we are not insensitive to your suffering, for we have had our own path of evolution and we understand suffering well. We are telling you that as you change your perspective and shift the polarity from the negative to the positive, your suffering will decrease. You may decrease your own suffering by changing your perspective, by changing your polarity, by reaching out to one another in love, in trust, in joy, in compassion. It is complicated and yet very simple. The complications arise from your own tangled web of belief systems of how you think things ought to be, how you believe things should occur, your direct relationship to cause and effect, which is a dualistic concept. When you step beyond this and surrender it, you move into an area of being able to breathe a little more freely, allowing the fluid of your water to shift and merge into states that allow you electromagnetically to heal disease, alter relationships within yourself so that therefore relationships outside of you may be altered as well, and attract to you what you need financially, or for your safety, or for your abundance. All of these things are capable within you. You must adjust your perspectives and stop trying to take from the world, but instead be thankful for what is given and ask what you can give to the world. The universe will match you in that response. You are here in the world at your own choice to do service for all. You are here to do service to yourself, and it is important that you find the balance between giving and taking. Focusing on balance and love and trust is the place where you can find the seed point of everything that you need. That would be our opening assessment of where humanity is at this moment. We are willing and asking for your questions now. What do you wish to know?
Laarkmaa, thank you so much for being here. What a beautiful message. And I know that even some of my questions were answered with those simple yet profound words. And really, in a nutshell, giving back to the universe, being grateful and thankful for what we have, and giving back to the universe. In my mind, that says, in my heart, that says it's allowing us to really live our passion, and by living our passion and expressing our passion, we will be provided for.
You provide for yourselves, dear ones. It is not a matter of being provided for. It is a matter of surrendering to trust to the universe that everything is okay. And in that trust, you begin to nurture and feed yourself, rather than requiring the universe to nurture and feed you. When you begin to nurture and feed yourself through that perspective of love and trust, the universe matches that, and you are even more fed and nurtured.
Thank you. I have a quick question from, one quick moment here. I've got some questions. Yana says, hello, Laarkmaa. I have a short question. Are there other Pleiadians connecting with humans, and how can one connect with you?
There are many Pleiadians connecting with many humans on the planet, as they have for thousands and thousands of years. When you desire to connect with a Pleiadian, whether it is Laarkmaa or any other group, you find the pathway through connection with your own high self angel. Your high self angel is the bridge for connection into other realms. When you make connection with your own high self angel, the other realms open up to you, and you are guided and directed into those that you wish to communicate with and those that wish to communicate with you. Your high self angel acts, so to speak, as a translator when necessary, or a connector when there is direct communication to be had. You may connect with us, dear Yana, at any given time energetically by feeling into the heart song of the place of love within your own heart, breathing in love, joy, trust, and compassion. You are automatically connecting with us. We may not answer questions in the way that we do with this team, with Cullen and Rebecca, but perhaps questions are not what needs to occur when you connect with us in other realms. We serve the purpose of answering questions through this team with Cullen and Rebecca. We serve to do the energetic work when you ask individually for yourselves. And so you may receive benefits from Laarkmaa and many, many other star brothers and sisters by tuning in to your own high self angel and asking for the energetic heart song connection. In that way, you begin to communicate wave to wave rather than through thought form. We reserve the thought forms for this particular vessel of this couple because of their polaric matching, as we have explained before. This way, there is no filterization when thought forms are involved. But energetically, you may connect with us at any time. Thank you for your question.
Wonderful. Now I see a couple of hands raised, including Claire. So I'm going to unmute you, Claire. And if you have a question, you can answer it, or maybe your hand is just up from before. Claire, you are unmuted. Hello.
My hand was up by mistake.
Oh, okay. No problem there. No problem there. Good to see you on, and good to hear your voice, by the way.
Thank you.
And Linda, your hand was up earlier, but now it's down, and you have a question. So I'm going to unmute you, Linda. You are unmuted. Would you like to answer or ask your question?
Yeah. Can
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question about moon disks. I live in Arkansas, and I'm about an hour away from a sun disk, which I'm very aware of. And moon disks have come into my consciousness, and I can't find any information out about them, and I was wondering if Laarkmaa knows anything about that.
Are you speaking of Mu, the continent?
I'm speaking of, I think, Atlantean technology, utilizing the energy of the moon through a, like a laser-like disc made out of crystal.
Huh. The Atlantean technology and Mu are separate. Mu was a different continent than Atlantis. Mu is a continent connected with water. An understanding of connection through heart song, telepathic communication existed on Mu. It is an energetic place that preceded Lemuria. Lemurians connected with those from Mu. Those on Mu knew how to breathe in all different manner than what you breathe through your air. Those beings who lived on Mu were connected to breathing underwater because they understood that they were water. They had not separated yet to be walking around and breathing air as humans have since then. So you have a gap in your understanding of realities between Atlantis and Mu. Atlantis was an advanced civilization that separated itself from spiritual understanding of what was appropriate and allowed the mind to take over in order for greed and power and control to rule. They destroyed themselves simply because they advanced their technologies without consulting the energies that were involved. The Crystal Kingdom and the Matrix of Atlantis ceased to be consulted as a living being by those who were manipulating the energy of the planet. And as a collective consciousness together, the crystals decided not to participate. They refused to give forth any more of their wisdom because they were being manipulated inappropriately. The humans that were greedy and in control and who were advancing their technology pushed the crystals and demanded extraction of more and more and more information. When this occurred, it was an energetic mixture that caused the explosion of the continent. All of Atlantis exploded, the crystals sinking back into the core of the earth where they came from, and the rest of the planet sinking under the sea. You are experiencing part of the crystalline grid in your place on the planet in Arkansas, reaching back up for recognition and awareness. There are other places where the crystals come forth into the world once again. Arkansas is one, Mexico is another. There are some in Europe and some in Asia. But the crystals are beginning to come up from the center of the earth, either energetically first or actually in physical form. Some of the earth shaking that you are aware of across the planet is in direct response to the crystals wishing to co-create with the universe once again, giving humanity another choice, another chance, if they will begin to communicate with crystals appropriately, respectfully, with honor and wisdom, not asking to take continually. Many humans use crystals now, obviously in the form of technology, with computers, televisions, things of this sort, even watches to create your artificial time. But even the light workers are mistaken somewhat in their crystals, for they gather them because they are sparkle or they feel their energy and feel good, and they take and they take and they take, never asking, how can I feed you? What can I give back? there is still much imbalance in humanity at this time of all aspects of manifested energy. Crystals that are in your proximity are there to give you a chance to right the imbalance that has occurred since the time of Atlantis. They are in your environment in order for you to nurture and give back to them, not for you to take from them. And when you do this, they in turn share their essence with you. Does this answer your question?
I'm going to rephrase that for Linda. That answered a question that I should have prefaced. It was wonderful learning about Mu, Lemuria, and Atlantis. So we know from Lemuria that there were 12 sun disks. And with the sinking of Lemuria, those were taken by Lord Aramu, and one of them is down in Lake Titicaca in Peru. But the question that Linda would like to ask more specifically, she knows about these sun disks, but what about moon disks? It was just presented to her consciousness. Can you give us any insight on moon disks?
The moon has been until last year, the moon has been in control by forces that were refracting the light from the sun with a warp where it did not reflect back on this earth in the way it is intended. And so the energy of moon has been removed from this planet for some time, for the energy coming through was warped and inappropriate. It was torqued, so to speak. So moon disks may appear in your sky now because the moon's energy has been corrected and realigned with the sun appropriately. Sun disks and moon disks in your third dimensional understanding are energetic portals, energetic places of light that reflect and help you to travel where you need to go. Yes, indeed, there is such an energetic portal in Peru, as there are others across the plains. They are not so much taken by particular energies as misappropriated by particular energies. Humans have allowed much manipulation through their fear. Much that you consider has been taken from you, you have allowed because you did not access your own power and connect with truth in order to sustain your own process and your own movement towards development and evolution. We are pleased that you are reconnecting with your power and you are sustaining it now, and that you are appropriating things to their proper harmonic resonant position through respect and love. Know this, 12, the number you mentioned, is the number of understanding, but there are 13 in any system of important energies. The 13 is the number of completion. When you find 12 and you know about 12, there is always a 13th that may not have come unto your understanding as yet. Sometimes the 13th is a simple merging of the 12. Sometimes the 13th is its own individual entity.
Fascinating. Linda, I'm going to open your mic again. Does that answer your question?
It helps a lot. Thank you very much. Now you've given me a place where I can begin to travel from. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I see some other questions, but no one's raised their hand, so I will ask another. There was a question regarding the crystals. That was a very powerful reminder, and even we should probably plant crystals in Mother Earth. But how, here's a question from Marlene, how can we give to crystals?
through opening the love and light within your own heart and loving them, by exposing them to sunlight so that they may be nurtured and fed by the light. That way you are opening two portals of giving light to crystals to nurture them. Crystals are fed through light. They may be fed through the light of the sun or from the light of love from your own inner sun, your heart. It is also appropriate to occasionally wash them in pure water to take away any negative vibration of where they have been exposed, just as you would wash your own body and take away anything that you have collected that does not belong within your body system. So you may move them through pure, clean water, or even water with sea salt, the exact composition of the waters of the earth. Swishing them through water allows the energies to be dispelled. Putting them back in sunlight and loving them from your own heart nurtures them. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Here's a question from Pete, one of my soul brothers. Is the heart connection, oh, hold on, there's two here. The first one I'd like to ask you is, what can you tell us about disclosure and Earth's true history and exposure of the cover-ups, including our galactic family? Is that soon in coming?
You are opening an awareness on an exponential basis. We would ask in your opening awareness to listen deeply to your own hearts and not look externally for things to be revealed. Look to your own knowing within what is within you. You have the answers to what occurred and what happened historically, but you still, as a species, tend to look for someone else to tell the story or to explain to you what has occurred. It disempowers you, humans, our beloved friends, to tell stories when you have the truth living within your own heart. So we would ask you to continue your deep listening, each and every one of you together, and share what you find with one another. In regard to will the truth be discovered soon, absolutely it will. You are, through your own work as light workers, beginning to send waves of energetic creation that crack the facade that has been holding the truth away from your awareness. So it is not up to anyone else to reveal the truth, for you are doing this yourself. As you begin to understand that you need not be controlled by others, that you are powerfully divine in who you are, that level of energetic understanding amplifies the power of love within you. And through that power of love, you begin to recognize places where you have been controlled and manipulated. And in the recognition, the next step, which you have not figured out yet, is to say, I give you compassion. I give you compassion. You tried to control me. You can control me no longer. I give you compassion. I will love you until you no longer need to control. That is a much more potent and powerful interaction than to look back in history and try to find blame or story in what has occurred. You can find many who receive information or who touch into the Akashic records who can answer these stories for you and tell you story after story after story of which dark forces invaded, what happened to inject fear, why this occurred. But from our vantage point and our perspective, it only continues the old paradigm of having you believe that you are separate and that you need someone to save you, that you have been victimized and you need someone else to tell you how it happened to prevent it from happening again. Instead, we implore you, please do your own deep inner listening to your own hearts rather than the stories of your brain or the stories that you may find elsewhere, and you will know the truth. And in recognizing the enemy standing in front of you, you will be strong and light enough to dissolve any attempts to control you through the power of love. That is what the shift is all about. It is not about explaining what has brought you to where you are. We are not greatly fond of psychology and psychotherapy, where the therapist goes back into the person's childhood to explain what has happened to them to make them who they are. We find it dwelling in the past and not particularly beneficial, for it anchors the person into their story. We are much more involved with the spiritual psychology that allows people to energetically move from where they are. You don't need the stories. You need to understand that the stories were created through energy, like everything is created through energy. And it is time now to create a new story through energetic balance with a foundation of love, trust, joy, and compassion. Perhaps this is not the answer that you wished to hear, for we hear in your question that you would like an explanation. But we tell you, for your own higher empowerment, we feel that you can find what you need by energetically moving towards it, rather than focusing your attention backwards behind you to where you have been.
Thank you. I'd like to ask some questions about Lemuria and the Lemurians and any remnants on our planet that are here. We did mention Peru, and in Peru, Lake Titicaca, there is a doorway. What is that doorway? Why do we feel the energy from that doorway, and how is it used?
It is a sacred doorway that star beings may maneuver to come through as a portal if they choose. And you are drawn to it because you may also find portals on Earth to help you connect with star beings. It has been well guarded for some long time that this is a place where your star brothers and sisters may, shall we say, be here in protected mode, and yet it need not be a protected secret any longer. It is time to be understood in the right energy of love, that there are portals within the earth and within the waters of the earth where you may shift your energetic understanding and connect with others like us.
And a question about Lemurians here on Earth. Are there Lemurians here? Were we Lemurians? Is that why we resonate as a group? And are there Lemurians in the inner Earth? And will there be a day when we can meet them?
Yes, 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 and yes. We tell you that you had not past lives, you have parallel lives. Your collective structure of time keeps you focused on the concept of past lives, but actually, in truth, they are parallel lives, so they are coexisting in multidimensionality now. Therefore, you may access other aspects of yourself in other dimensions, and when you do so, you will find that many of you did have a Lemurian or do have a Lemurian lifetime, where you manifested your life force in Lemurian form, and you are drawn to such energy. Others are connected with Atlantean life form. You are there to fight those who were abusing the crystals. This is why you are drawn to memories of Atlantis now, in your deep understanding that disrespect for the crystal kingdom must not happen again, ever. Some of you experience lifetimes on Moon, and those of you who experience that are deeply drawn to and connected to water. You will find that water makes you laugh every time you enter it. That is a clue that you have shared a lifetime on the Moon. Yes, Lemurians are on the planet now. They walk in etheric form, and you may see them manifest when you adjust your own peripheral vision to be able to see them and bring them into full focus through your own understanding of deeper sight than what your two eyes offer you. They are here in varying places. They work with the little people quite a bit and helping the little people who are so challenged at this time because of humanity's deplorable treatment of the earth. The disrespect that has occurred for the little people has caused them great suffering. The Lemurians are here working with the little people to support them in their kingdoms and to bridge the communication once again between little people and humans. And yes, Lemurians are gathered in certain communities across the planet. There are many Lemurians in Peru. There are many in Mount Shasta. There are many in the Himalayas. There are Lemurians in what you call the inner earth, but also the outer earth, the earth that is the atmospheric condition of etheric manifestation. They do not dwell in a kingdom as you would make up a story about something existing inside of a mountain. Yet that is the way you have perceived them because of limited understanding in the third dimension, as if they exist within the earth in a different kingdom, much like your Tolkien stories, an inner earth, an inner kingdom. The inner kingdom is crystalline and water. Let Lemurians in their etheric form can travel into different dimensions, and so they exist both in the earth, on the earth, and above the earth, and in the water. It is the same energetic composition that you are moving towards in your process of understanding how to ascend differently, and your process of connecting your light body to your physical form once again.
Good, good. Thank you. There's a question, again from Pete, is the heart connection language that you've mentioned like the light language or language of light?
They are very connected. The heart language is a language of light, sound, and love. And this powerful trinity is the strongest way to communicate or teleport yourselves. Through light, love, and sound, you have the ability to create whatever you need. Instant communication, instant travel, instant manifestation. The missing component is you are all still tinged with fear. You have not managed to clear up the shadows of fear that lurk within you. When you clear up the shadows of fear and balance yourselves in love and trust, you will be able to access exactly how you can utilize love, sound, and light together, just as we have described. For those who will be listening later, because we know the governments have ears and they listen, we tell you quite pointedly, you cannot commandeer those who understand such things as teleporting and telecommunication with love, light, and sound, and inscript them and make them perform. Nor can you steal and control the powers to do this, for it is only through the power of love that it is possible to achieve such travel and communication. Doing it with the intention of controlling and doing it while instilling fear into human brothers and sisters will not be allowed by the energy itself. The energy itself can only thrive, and we use the word thrive on purpose. The energy itself can only thrive with love, trust, joy, and compassion. It cannot thrive in the energy of controlling fear. So all of you governmental ears who might be listening to this program, we tell you, step into love and join us in unity. You will find much more joy than you ever experienced in trying to control the world.
Thank you. A question from Yana. Can you please tell a bit more about the Akashic records? How do they look like from your point of view?
From our point of view, we see an area of shimmering lights of all potentialities. When you connect your energy to the Akashic records, you are capable of connecting to all that you may be. You are also capable of looking at what you have been, for all energies are present. Just as we have spoken about now at this present time in multidimensionality, all of the energies we presented through the Mayan calendar are now present and available. This was what the Akashic records were before, a holding place for all of these energies to exist simultaneously, shimmering, sparkling lights that contained potent information. Now that information is diverse and is able to be accessed in the multidimensional now in many different directions. It looks like light streaming into humans. It looks like little tiny shocks of spark going, oh, I'm waking up, as humans jerk to attention and begin to listen more deeply and pay attention to what they see and what they hear and what they feel. That is what it looks like to us. We laugh. We love it.
Thank you. And Veronica made a comment in the beginning that even since she was a little child, she can remember that she was fascinated with the Pleiades and everything to do with the constellation. She doesn't know why, but she's still deeply drawn to the seven sisters. And so my question with that is that an indicator of anything for her and for all of us? And what's the relation between the seven chakras, the seven planets, the seven sisters? Seven.
Ah, that is a most important question. First of all, anytime a human is drawn to or aware of any particular energy and resonates with it, it is indeed significant. It is significant of helping you to reawaken to what you remember, what you already know. You are re-remembering connection with Pleiadian star systems. You are re-remembering connection with Pleiadian wisdom. That is why you are drawn to that light. And Veronica is not the only one. Many, many, many humans are drawn to the Pleiades for this reason. You are re-remembering your connection with love and light. And we are here helping you to open the portals of your understanding, how to access that again. As for seven sisters, seven chakras, seven directions, yes, seven is an important number. In Pleiadian understanding, seven is what is called between the veils. It is the place where time does not exist. It is the place of merging in unity. It is the place where everything can be seen, known, and understood through presence. You need to immerse yourself in the energy of seven to understand abundance. For once you are in seven, you move into other energies that you can access. Perhaps you would like a Pleiadian description of what the energies contain. Would that be helpful?
Yes.
We will give you such a description. One is the energy of unity, is the energy of love. It is the energy that all of you contain within you and that extends out into the universe, showing you who you are. Two is the energy of duality. It is the energy of separation. It is where you move apart from each other to mirror each other back to each other once again, the place where you may see your varying aspects and your gifts, and where you may appreciate them if you choose, or fight them as you have for most of humanity's existence. Three is the number of creativity. It is the place where you may co-create, bringing forth in an alchemical mixture your androgynous self, your male aspects, your female aspects, and the androgynous divine into creativity. Four is foundation. It is a stable base for humanity. 4 is the basis of love, trust, compassion, and joy. We give you those 4 essences as foundation because 4 energetically carries foundation. 5 is the energy of change. This is why you wish upon a star often in your mythology. 5 pointed stars you have drawn as children. It is the point of change where each point offers you other potentialities and other possibilities. 6 is the energy of flow. It is the energy that reminds you you are a waveform. You are not particles. You are not stuck, rigid, static beings. You are moving, fluid, water beings, and in the etheric form, wave beings. Either in light form of your light body as you wave through the universe, or in physical form as physical cells as you move in your water bodies. You are a waveform, ever continually changing. 7 is between the veils. It is where you understand there is no separation. The separation you created it to does not really exist. It was only your illusion. 7 is the place where you are allowed to step beyond illusion into seeing all potentialities. Once you reach 7 and understand that energy, you move into 8. 8 is an infinity symbol, showing you that everything is connected to everything else. And in understanding that connection, you experience complete and total abundance in all areas. 9 is the vibration of harmony. When you feel conflict in your world, you can send forth a loving tone of harmonic vibration 9 times into the conflict, and the 9th energy will help dispel any conflict through its vibratory resonance. 10 is the energy of understanding the portal of binary systems. It is a 1 and a 0 standing back to back. The 1 shows the binary individuality. The 0 shows how 2, as Cullen expressed earlier, 2 standing together and mirroring back and forth to each other can form a cap of energy over the top, over the bottom, and create the 0, the everlasting circle of manifestation, possibilities. You in your human form experience 10 for the most part as an area of challenge, for you have not broken away from your belief systems and your patterns of behavior. So anything with 10 energy for the most part feels like a challenge to you, except for those of you who were born with 10 energy. Those of you who are born with 10 energy have an intrinsic understanding that each challenge leads to manifestation. And your purpose being here on earth is to help others understand the gift and challenges is to be able to manifest what you need. 11 is the energy of illumination. It is the direct reflection of the binary numbers 1, 1, reflecting back and forth to each other. And in that reflection, you illuminate all, so that you can reach 12. 12 is the level of understanding. This is why you find 12 in so many aspects of divine things. You find understanding in the 12. 13 is the number of completion. It is the creativity 3 and the beginning unity 1 combined together for a firm foundation that is complete. This is the Pleiadian understanding of energetic, vibratory understanding of numbers. We trust this will be beneficial as you utilize these energies in your field and learn what they mean and how you may guide them with love.
Thank you. Taking notes there on that one. That was very powerful. There's a couple more questions I'd like to address. And we hear from Genevieve. She's got a question. What would the role of the Choikji, it's spelled CHOIQ''IJ, the sacred calendar gifted to humanity by the Pleiadians as a wisdom tool in serving humans at this point in time? What's the role of that?
It is all about energy. It is about reaching that point where you may understand love, light, and sound together. It is about helping you step beyond fear. It is an energetic tool.
Thank you. Earlier, this is a question from Pete. Earlier, your description of the use of emotions as signposts of alignment sounds similar to Abraham Hicks. Can you comment on this?
Truth comes in many forms. Abraham Hicks presents information in a form that certain people resonate with and are drawn to. The Hicks information is primarily focused on the law of attraction, being able to attract to you by your energetic component. That is a very similar understanding of truth, where when you focus on a particular polarity energetically, that is the energy that you draw to you. But that is quite different from our description of what emotions are. We are not telling you to focus away from your negative emotions. We are telling you to utilize them and then move away from them. Abraham Hicks is fond of saying, point yourself in the direction of going in the stream and go towards that for the law of attraction. That is well said and a good suggestion, but we would add to that by saying, take responsibility first for the emotion, claim it as your own, and understand where you are out of balance. Or even if you are standing in the stream going in the right direction, if you don't understand where you're out of balance, you will fall down. You must take responsibility for what the emotion means to you and how you are harmonically out of balance, and then begin to correct it. Once that step is done, then you may invoke the law of attraction. Many people who are on the path of love and light feel that if they only focus on the white light or the things that are pleasant, that they are doing what is right. But we say this is imbalanced. It is hiding your head in the sand. You must also face the dark and the shadow and give it all of your love, for it is in the loving of the shadow that the shadow dissolves so that you may fully be in the light. You cannot simply set your attention and intention on being in the flow and being in light without simultaneously in balance, accepting all the signposts that are given to you as gifts to show you where you are out of balance.
Thank you. So with this, my question to follow up that comment is, with the economy then and the Occupy movement, it's really important to remember that our relationships with one another is far more important than any monetary system, and that in itself would create a community that then hopefully would never rely on a monetary system. Would you agree?
We would agree. Love and relationship are more important than any form of physical abundance. When you have an abundance of love, and when you have an abundance of understanding of how to utilize the power of love, there is no poverty possible. The primary thing you are missing as a species is learning how to step away from fear. You are still controlled by fear. You have many systems in place that you are participating in because you are afraid if you don't, you will get in trouble. When you, together, as a collective consciousness, set your intention, as you did on 11/11/11, not to be controlled in the ways that you are at this time, and to shift through love, the shifts will begin to occur. We are not telling you that you should fight or that you should resist. We are saying instead, create an alternative way. And in the creation of an alternative, let it be so love-filled that it becomes a higher priority and a higher preference for more and more people to participate. And then the old ways that are controlling will quite naturally die away.
So the last question we have today would be on the change and the future as we see it. We know that you are in another dimension. Will we be there in that other dimension?
You are in that other dimension now. In every moment where you tune into your heart and you tune out the third dimensional world, you may be in that and move in and out of. You are focused on your vision from the third dimension without fully seeing the multidimensionality that exists all around you. The future is here now. The only thing that prevents you from being in the future now at this present moment is your interaction with time. As you stop interacting with time, and as you cease to be controlled by fear, you will notice that your energy shifts, your perception shifts, how you gravitate towards certain polarities in your life will shift. All of that is possible in each present moment. In order to reach the future, you must live in the present moment fully, for the future will never exist. It is always something that is artificial for the structure of time. And yet, in the very present moment, the future is very much real. It is very much alive here and now. So, use the power of 5 for change, to stretch into the future in this present moment, and call into you everything that is possible by utilizing your own divine power of love, light, and sound. We would also offer to you, we join with humans all over the globe, internationally, on a phone call every Sunday. And you may join with us to ask your other questions or to increase your understanding on a regular basis. We enjoy dialoguing and communicating with you, and we welcome and encourage you to please share this portal of opportunity, this gift of understanding with everyone you know. Invite them to participate with us and feel the wisdom within their own hearts. As Pleiadians, we tell you, never trust an outside source. All wisdom lies within you. Do not believe anything, not even us. Believe in what lies within your heart, for your heart holds all the answers and all the truth, and we are here to guide you, to help you in learning how to listen to the wisdom that lives within you. We thank you for this. We appreciate your being with us, and you may ask Rebecca and Cullen how to access the phone calls if you choose to participate. Please, dear ones, we are pleading with humanity to share the information that we are offering with everyone that you know, for through the understanding and through the energetic resonance that you feel with us, you open up your own portals of possibility. We would like for all those in the world who are interested in human evolution to participate with us. We have room, you know, to incorporate questions and answers from all of you. We love you very much. Good always.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We love you. Thank you so much. Rebecca and Cullen, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Following Laarkmaa's lead to give information, our weekly calls are available. You can see how to sign up to participate with them on our website, www.laarkmaa.com. Go to the participation page or the home page, and it shows how to participate in the phone calls. We will be offering these in expanded versions throughout this month to as many people as who would like to participate.
Great. Well, thank you for all of the work that you and Cullen are doing. You two have pretty much dedicated your life to this, And that is a really bold thing to do as you live in the truth and you trust. So that is a great role model for the rest of us light workers. I also want to thank all of you today online with us for these 2 precious hours. We hope that you can take this and share it in the world as well and do that shadow work. And remember, it's just as easy as coming back to the present moment now. There was one question that I didn't get to ask Laarkmaa before they left, and it really was, how do we stop interacting with time? And I think we know the answer to that. Rebecca, Cullen, would you like to answer that?
I think from our perspective, it's just not allowing time to govern us. We still have to meet our appointments, and we do still share a collective understanding of structure of time, but to allow ourselves to move into the deep and quiet of solitude and nature allows us continually to step out of time. So we have to do that on a regular basis. Nature will continually take us away from time if we just allow ourselves an opportunity to join with nature.
When we don't have appointments or we don't have things scheduled, which generally only take up about 8 or 10 hours of our day, all of that other time can be devoted to spending time in nature, going for a walk, having a meaningful conversation with someone, really looking eye to eye, heart to heart with someone, and slowing down. Our culture worldwide has taught us that speeding up is the only way to get everything accomplished. And what we're finding through the wisdom and love and support that Laarkmaa is giving to all of humanity is that maybe, just maybe, if we slow down a little bit, we may be able to listen more deeply and take that time not to do the things that we've all been trained to do, but maybe just slow our pace down enough that we connect with people, animals, nature, the planet, and find that time, as we've been taught, is not quite as important as we thought.
That's going to be wonderful, isn't it, everyone? I can certainly attest to being in Peru and coming from this world where time seemed to just speed up, and being in Peru because we were in that heart space, and we do look into the eyes of who we are speaking, and spending as much time with someone and getting to know that someone that it felt like time stood still. So thank you for those words. It did feel that way to me, and it is all so simple as long as we can get out of our own way. Rebecca and Cullen, thank you so much, and everyone, thank you so much from this. We will have I will email you a recording of today's online retreat. I will send you the download link, so look for that. And also, if you'd like to sign up for the newsletter with Laarkmaa, Laarkmaa is here at the bottom of your screen, LAARKMAA.com. Everyone, thank you so much for being here, and please take this newer consciousness and vibration and maintain it throughout the rest of your day and spread it to our beloved humans on this planet and Pachamama, Mother Gaia herself. Thank you all. Thank you, Rebecca and Cullen and Laarkmaa.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Loren.
Loren. Thank you all for participating. This is what we're doing, participating with each other. It's the greatest choice.
And the simplest one in our new community of unity. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Good always.
I now again will leave you with music from the universe, music literally created by the universe, mathematical notes were assigned to mathematical equations were assigned to musical notes, and we have the resulting sound here. So goodbye, everyone. Have a beautiful day.